People are not just selfish in their love of sin and their love of darkness. They are selfish in that they want to do things their own way. 1 John 3:12. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. This goes all the way back to the first murderer. He offered the fruit of the ground in Genesis 4:3. Remember, the ground was cursed by God in Genesis 3:17. So Cain offered the fruit of the dust of the earth instead of the blood sacrifice God instituted. Which is why in Genesis 4:5, God rejected Cain's sacrifice and told him if he did well, he would be accepted. That is, if he obeyed, if he offered the correct sacrifice. Offering the cursed dust of the earth was not doing well. The same problem exists today. People want to do things their own way. Keeping in mind, again, the dust of the earth was cursed. In Genesis 2:7, what did God make our flesh out of? And the Lord formed man of the dust of the ground. Our own sacrifices from our own works are not acceptable to the Lord. Titus 3:5, not by works of righteousness which we've done, but according to his mercy he saved us, by the washing of regeneration and renewing of the Holy Ghost. Not by works, by faith. God saved us through his mercy and the blood sacrifice of Jesus. Hebrews 12:24. And to Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaketh better things than that of Abel. We are not saved by our own filthy, ragged works of righteousness. That's Cain's sacrifice. The useless sacrifice from the cursed dust of the earth. But whose sacrifice was accepted? Abel's blood sacrifice. Genesis 4:4. We are not saved by works. We are not made righteous by works. We are saved and made righteous by the blood sacrifice of the Messiah, Jesus. I want to point out that Jesus died. I want to go back a little further. He was actually born before the scepter departed Judah. He rode on a donkey on the day of the end of the 69th week of years prophesied by Daniel. And he died before the destruction of the Jerusalem temple. And there has been no blood sacrifice at all since AD 70. He's the Messiah. He is the blood sacrifice, the eternal blood sacrifice for the remission of all sin. We are saved and made righteous through faith in the blood sacrifice of the Messiah, whose blood was sprinkled in the mercy seat of heaven. Yet people want their own righteousness instead of God's perfect righteousness. Romans 10:3, for they, being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God. They cannot accept what Isaiah 64:6 says. But we are all as an unclean thing, and all are our righteousnesses. Your righteousness, my righteousness, are as filthy rags. The only righteousness that looks good in the eyes of God is God's righteousness, imputed by faith. Just as Abraham believed God, and it was credited unto him for righteousness, we believe God, and it's given to us as well. It is out of that righteousness that we then live.